Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 30th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Hopefully, you had a good Thursday. Mine was solid. It was good. We got up on time, got to work on time. Work was very busy. It's been a very busy week. I think to a certain extent, I would say that was my thorn, is just kind of feeling a bit overwhelmed with what's ahead. With November and December, it really does feel like we're about to be up against it. And I mean, that's expected, I know, but like when you're seeing it happen, like, and it's like, okay, come Monday, we got to stick in. We can't take any days off. We can't be coming in late. None of that, because I'm trying to get like the perfect attendance so that I can get, my incentive bonuses and all of that. So I was just a bit, I guess, on edge, a bit keyed up or something to that effect. Kind of affected my mood a little bit. Also, there was a bit of a mix up because I had asked a question about overtime, and essentially I was told, you're not going to get any overtime, but if you want some, we can have you work restock. And I, was trying to be polite, and I said, okay, I will think about it and I'll let you know. And they said, okay, well, yeah, just let us know by like Monday. And I'm like, okay. The trainer comes up to me today to try to train me on restock. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm eyeball deep in cardboard right now. Like, and two, I'm actually, now that I'm actually thinking about it and saying it, I'm not interested. Like, I didn't say that, I didn't vocalize that quite yet, but I was like, yeah, I said I was thinking about it. And he goes, oh, okay, well, I was all ready for you, but I guess let us know by Monday. And I said, okay. And then my supervisor came through, and I was a little bit more blunt, a little bit more forthcoming. And I said, well, we talked about this, and we said I would think about it and get back to you Monday. And then the mood kind of switched, and they were like, oh, yeah, you did say that. That's right. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And now that we're really talking about it, I'm 100% not going to do that. Which is like, well, Isaiah, didn't you just say you needed overtime? Don't you need the money? You're so hard up. Yes, I know. But this is a slippery slope when it comes to dragging me upstairs. And I don't want this to be the reason that they now will be able to say, okay, well, you're slow where you're at, so there's no need for you to sit in maintenance. Why don't you go upstairs and do some restock? Call it a day after that. Do a couple of carts, or, that's how the only way I'm going to be able to get overtime is that way, as opposed to coming in and doing my assigned job. I don't want to do that. I don't want either of those things. I'm okay. I'm good. So I said, no, thank you. And we kind of left it at that. I'm glad I at least have the rapport with my supervisor, though, that I can be candid like that, and they can understand that, like, okay, this is the line. I shouldn't push any further. And we don't have any real problems or anything like that. I was just very flustered by that interaction, and just didn't need to happen that way. But after we sorted that out, I was good. I was solid. I said, all right, Isaiah, we need to lock in. We need to get this mood in order. Let's rein it in. And, the rest of the day was business as usual. So post work, we go to the gym. It's another busy day at Planet Fitness. I was able to get a Smith machine. I was able to get on free weights. And I got my core work in. But yet again, the machines were all taken up. So I really didn't get my filler work in that I like to do. I switched it up with some hack squats, and then the incline bench. And I was like, all right, that's good. And then I did an hour of cardio. So that was my workout for the day. It was solid. It was good. And here we are. Here we are now, ready to yap it up, ready to talk about some news. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into it. Ooh, All right. First story comes from CNN. Trump's big concession to Xi is loaded with red flags. President Donald Trump made an extraordinary concession in his landmark deal with Chinese leader Xi Jinping Thursday. In exchange for promises that China will crack down on fentanyl, the United States will shave 10% off the tariffs it charges on Chinese goods. On the surface, it's a promising deal that could restore some of the trade that tariffs had stymied between the world's two largest economies. The reduction will bring the minimum tariff on Chinese imports down to 20%, and the average tariff rate will fall around 47%. That's lofty compared to many other U.S. trading partners, but still more in line with the rest of the world. It could give some relief to U.S. consumers, and it means Chinese goods can shed the outcast status in the United States that Trump's high tariffs had imposed on them. Now, I want to leave the article pretty much from here. There are a lot of details here that are worth going through, worth dissecting, but just for the sake of time and everything, we're just not going to get into it for today. But I do suggest that you want to read this article. Also, check out The Daily. They did an episode the other day that was pertaining to this trade war, specifically focusing on like right before the meeting, because that's when they recorded it. And they got through a lot of details that I felt were really relevant. But to sum up, I guess, my 2 cents, my take on it, it does feel like Trump got mogged here. It feels like Xi really, really dominated. And I mean, you know, call me a fucking hater, but I'm kind of happy to see it. It's nice to see a bit of the role reversal when it comes to Trump really not being on the like dominant aggressive, where he can just like tell you what the terms are going to be and really dictate it. Like when it comes to someone like Xi Jinping, when it comes to something like China, we don't have that ability. We don't really have the leverage. I think at the top of this administration, when they came into power for the second term, I think that they really thought that they were going to hammer some things into China, and they were going to make it happen with these tariffs, and that they were going to, you know, make them capitulate. But essentially, you have from this meeting where Trump went all the way to Asia and talked about this, that, and the third, and you know, got a cool crown and all this other blah, blah, blah. In South Korea, he made time for Xi Jinping to talk about this shit. And essentially said, okay, yeah, we're not going to do the heavy-handed, you know, I can't remember the full amount of the tariff before, but we had talked recently about how it was like going up another 100% because of the rare earth minerals restrictions and stuff that China was imposing. And it's like, well, you've altered the deal. We're really fucking pissed about this. And it's like, okay, but it seems like you were quickly able to kind of shed this off. And you're saying, okay, they're dealing with fentanyl. We got that working. Where things are going to be good. Things are going to be better. Now, that's not to say that like, if we continued this at full bore, that China's not going to suffer, that China isn't going to come out a loser in this situation. But I think the Trump administration has realized that we are not going to be the winner if we go pedal to the metal all the way. At some point, we do have to meet in the middle with China, and we can't just keep saber rattling. And I'm glad that Trump has come around. It's nice to see. But we'll see. This obviously isn't done. I mean, this is a lifelong thing. I think I've overall heard that this kind of amounts to about a 1-year truce. And then we'll kind of see where things go from here. But I mean, this is a problem for Trump term 1. This is a problem for Biden. So of course it's going to be a problem for Trump again. It's like at the end of the day, you want to have this competitive relationship with China. You want to work with them, but you want to be competitive with them. And it's like, okay, man, but everybody's got to eat. Everybody's got to fucking do business. And like this tariff shit makes it so fucking icky and complicated. And he tries to use this as like a bargaining control thing. But when you have, once again, someone as big as China, it's right next to you, you know, in terms of like powers, you're not going to be able to bully them the way that you want, I think. So, you know, once again, I'm happy to see it, at least for that regard. You know what I mean? Call me crazy. Anyway, we're going to move on to our next thing. From The Guardian, Prince Andrew to be stripped of titles and forced to leave Windsor home. Prince Andrew is to be stripped of his royal titles and will move out of his home at the Royal Lodge in Windsor. Windsor Buckingham Palace has announced. King Charles has initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew, who will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The Palisade. What a fucking mouthful. What the fuck? Mountbatten, bro? Stale ass fucking name. It is understood the king had the support of the Prince of Wales in the decision, and Andrew did not object to the process. The decision follows anxiety within the royal household about the reputational risk to the monarchy caused by continual headlines concerning Andrew's friendship with the late child sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein, and allegations of sexual assault against him by one of Epstein's victims, Virginia Joffrey. This month, The Guardian published extracts from the posthumous memoirs of Joffrey, who died by suicide in April, aged 41. In the book, she claimed the prince believed that having sex with me was his birthright. Now we're going to skip ahead here. It is understood that Andrew will move to a property on a private Sandringham estate in Norfolk, to be privately funded by the king. So maybe this might be my last gripe about this fucking shit is, okay, good. We finally did the shit that you guys should have done when you made this fucking decision to take off his Royal Highness status in 22, right? You should have taken all of it. All of it should have been taken from this man. It is crazy that he gets to be called prince and like do all this fucking shit. Like, why? Like, you know this guy's bad. You know this guy's tainted, corrupted, fucked. He's beautiful. But like you're like, nah, it's fine. He's our baby. He's still a part of the family. And it's like, okay, so you're acknowledging this in a soft way, but then still allowing him to be a royal bum. And you at least have this now, and this is, you can put this in the win column. Good. I'm happy that we got to call this guy by his full ass fucking, snake ass name. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Good. But like, he's still living on the fucking dime, bro. He's still on the king's fucking dole as far as I'm concerned. And who's paying the fucking king? The people. So like, it's frustrating. He still gets an allowance that pays for his fucking home. Why? He should have to fend for himself, as far as I'm concerned. I guess you get into it. You should be his family. It's like, it's his money. He can do what he wants with it. Sure. He's a goddamn king. You do whatever the fuck, right? Obviously. But it's just crazy that this is still a connection. He's still getting perks, and he still did what he fucking did. A guy who's never going to serve any fucking time, who just gets to deny. I don't even sweat. I couldn't have done it. Like, okay, motherfucker. All right. Good for you, man. His ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, will also move out of the Royal Lodge and will sort out her own living arrangements. Is the king going to pay for her too? Right? Like, whatever, man. His kids still get to keep their status, which I don't care about that. That's fine. That's neither here nor there to me. I'm not here to come for the kids and, boo them. I'm not on that mob mentality like that. But my focus is Mr. Windsor. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely feel like the overall premise, I feel like many people would agree with me on this. It's like, bro, this guy should be in a courtroom. Like, this guy should be on trial. This guy should be in the fucking gulag. Like, put this man in a London dungeon. Hop skip. Like, what the fuck? But no, here we are. He gets to, go out and live in some fucking home and rot, I guess, for the rest of his days. But he's probably going to do something. He's going to keep busy, I'm sure. Hopefully not getting any more scandals. Probably so. But, this is a good development. I do like the fact that it's like it is something that I feel like the family of Virginia Joffrey are celebrating, and rightfully so. I do think that she would have loved to have seen this moment, but it's sad that it takes this memoir and so much fucking time. Like, there is evidence that has been out there for people. Like, this is a known fucking thing, and he just gets to deny it and live his life. Like, whatever. Everything's fine, You don't even have to, there's no accountability here. And this is as close as you're going to get, is that, like, yeah, this guy's bringing shame to the family, and we got to do something about it. He's too much of a tabloid albatross. We have to cut him off. But not fully. But once again, it's something. It's been a long time coming. I really don't get that it, like, once again, took a memoir of a person who's now no longer here and had to go through so fucking much. But it's fucking something. And I mean, this is an update technically in the whole Epstein saga, if you will. So, there you go. But I mean, if there's anything more, obviously we'll come back and maybe do some more updating. But yeah, man. I mean, fuck that motherfucker, dude. Fuck that sweaty motherfucker. Anyway, our next story from NBC News. Pete Hegseth says U.S. carried out another strike on alleged drug boat in Pacific Ocean, killing 4 people. Back like we never fucking left, y'all. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Wednesday that the Pentagon carried out another lethal kinetic strike, they love saying that, at President Donald Trump's direction on a vessel in the eastern Pacific Ocean that killed 4 men. I believe the last one killed 3, 1 survived, if I'm keeping up with that. Earlier today, at the direction of President Trump, I'm sorry, let me get the quote right from old Pete, the Department of War carried out a lethal kinetic strike on yet another narco-trafficking vessel operated by the Designated Terror Organization, DTO, in the Eastern Pacific. Hegseth wrote on X using the Defense Department's secondary title. It's the 14th known time the Trump administration has launched a military strike against alleged drug carrying boats in recent months. Let's see here. What else did I really want to pull? No, that's really it. Also, mea culpa in advance if I did cover this one the other day, but I'm pretty sure this is different. And that's why I wanted to mention that detail of 4 people dying instead of as opposed to the number 3 from the other one. But you will forgive me, I hope, my dear listeners, because this is happening all of the fucking time. And, it's just not going to get stopped, apparently. We're just, I guess, allowed to do this now. We own the sky. We own the seas. It's also crazy, too, that we are also talking about doing land strikes on Venezuela while we're at it. Like, we are trying to make war. Like, I want to pull the little hair out of my head already that I have. Oh my God. What times we live in? What times? All right, we have one more story that I wanted to cover, and I know this just feels like repeat on repeat, but we're going back to the Louvre. We're going back to the Louvre. I always want to say the Louvre. I feel like that's how you're supposed to say it, but what the fuck would I know, my dumbass? We're going to stick with the Louvre, but we're going back, and there's been more arrests. Wow. Anyway, let's take our last break, and we'll go ahead and close it out. I hit the spot. Okay. From GMA, or Good Morning America. Good morning, America. Actually, more like good night for me, but that's neither here nor there. 5 more suspects arrested over Louvre heist, jewel heist, I should say. Let me run that all the way back. 5 more suspects arrested over Louvre jewel heist. There it is. There she goes. 5 more suspects have been arrested in connection with the October 19th jewel heist at the Louvre Museum in Paris, according to Paris Protector Laurie Bacall. The arrest took place on Wednesday in the Seine-Saint-Denis region in the suburbs of Paris, though French authorities have not yet named any of the suspects. Bacall, speaking on French radio station RTL, said the stolen jewelry has still not been found, but police believe one of the suspects arrested in Wednesday's raid could be a major person of interest due to his DNA being found at the scene of the crime. French police told ABC News that one of the suspects arrested Wednesday had already been identified and was under surveillance for several days. So yeah, I mean, that's now 5 more on top of the 2 we talked about previously. Still no jewels found. y'all, could y'all chime in and let me know? Hit my DMs, hit the comments. What are your thoughts on the jewels? These royal jewels. Like, do you want them to be found? Do you think they will be? Do you think they're gonna get? Do you think they've already been broken down? Like, do you think it's too little, too late? I'm very curious what the people think. I've been asking my friends whenever I get the chance, coworkers, things of that nature. Um, Actually, I will tell you a thing I asked one of my coworkers today in maintenance, and this is going to bring us back full circle back to the China talks as I close this out. Actually, but I asked my coworker. I said, "Hey, who we bombing first?" I say the craziest things out loud, and I shouldn't say that, but I shouldn't say them. But I knew that they were going to know what I was talking about because they are, a news head of the Fox News variety. I got a couple of them in maintenance. Love that for me. But essentially, it was like, China or Russia, because Trump, while he was on this little, his Asian tour doing his thing, before he got into the talks with China that, everyone was kind of saying, hey, it went very well. Things were very level-headed, very even-keeled, things are very diplomatic and good. That's surprising. That's great. We love to see that. But beforehand, he had said, hey, we're going to work on our nukes. We're going to activate, nuclear testing. We're going to initiate that. I want the Pentagon to get on that immediately. I'm wildly paraphrasing here. But saying that and essentially saying because Russia and China are both upping their nuclear capabilities, so we should be as well. So that's great. I think that's awesome. I love Cold Wars. Honestly, this is gonna. I was telling a friend this. My two favorite wars. Two favorites. And I know that's bad to have favorite wars. Is it? But it's such a guy thing. It's such a man in his 30s thing. Can you guys let me have this? Can you let me have favorite wars? Do I have to they're just interesting or not interesting. They're just fascinating. Can I just say sometimes it's cool? Because it's history, man. And I mean, obviously I don't like the war. I don't like any war really, but it's interesting to learn. Sometimes you go, wow, that's neat. It's crazy what you had to go through in the Civil War. That's one of my favorite wars. And because there was a lot on the line. I care about that for obvious reasons. You're kind of seeing why I like Ulysses S. Grant. If you're a listener, you know. But anyway, where was I getting at? Second favorite war, Cold War. And it's like, yeah, Isaiah, you're cheating. That's not fair. And I'm like, I don't care. It's a war. It's in the name. It's kind of a boneless war. It's a war filled with proxy wars, but like, that's why it's so interesting. Like, I like it. I think it's very intriguing, very engaging. It's a lot to learn. Like, I find that I'm always learning about the Cold War because there's always another proxy thing that I didn't know about. Like, learning about the Korean War was like, so like, what the fuck? Like, anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're getting over in the history section. We haven't done that in a while. But anyway, that's it. That's all I have for today. That's the episode. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. The roll call's coming up, top of the month, right after Halloween. But yeah, I shout you out at the top of the pod. Plug a project if you'd like. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Let's see. Excuse me, got a burp. I know, it's the end. I couldn't hold it. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. Let's see. All the stars on Spotify, all the stars on Apple Podcast. Would you kindly? But if you don't do any of those things, it's okay. It's fine. I really just appreciate you listening. If you made it this far, you're awesome. Most people do not. Sometimes I get reviews of people like, yeah, I listened to like the first like 3 minutes and like, this sucks. You can't even do syllables. Okay, buddy. All right, pal. So if you've made it all the way here for all of my slop, and you're here and you're a new one, you're a newbie. I hope you're almost a newsie to me. You're pretty much a newsie to me. Like that kiss on the forehead, or air kisses. I don't know. It depends on where you are. You want to do a European thing? cheek. How they do it in France. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.